What a pass. Espinosa back in. All the way across to Acosta. Number stood in the middle. Woledzi! Oh, that's his first. And it's a special moment for Maxwell Woledzi.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening to you, wherever you are listening from. It's Saturday, May 30th, and this is the Nashville Sports Report. All right. Thank you for joining us today. We got a great show coming up, including an interview with my guest this week, sports fan and super talented musician Derek Pell, coming up later in the show. But first, let's hop into the news from this week. Nashville SC closed out the pre-World Cup portion of their schedule with a 2-1 win over NYCFC on Saturday night. The clip you heard in the intro there was center back Maxwell Woledzi scoring the winning clip. Both he and fellow center back Jeisson Palacios scored in the win. That clip, of course, was the great Tony Husband calling the game winner, formerly the official Nashville SC sports announcer, but now with Apple TV. Nashville SC enter the break with 33 points from 14 games. They're number one in the Supporters Shield standings, and they have a game in hand over Miami, who is second in the Eastern Conference with 31 points. Now with the break, they have until July 17th to get their team healthy. As many people know, there have been a lot of injuries. Sam Surridge finally returning to the pitch on Saturday, but Patrick Yazbek, Eddie Tagseth, Andy Nahar, all still out. They will have at least until July 17th when Nashville returns to face Atlanta United, and they will be looking to get ready to continue their strong form during the back portion of the season. It'll be an interesting test for the organization to see how they navigate such a long break and if they're able to successfully regain their momentum when they do come back. But it's not all sunshine and roses right now for NSC. Warren Madrigal, the exciting newcomer and the team's third leading scorer, was dismissed from the Costa Rican National Team earlier this week, along with two other players. From what I can tell, the details are still pretty murky, but Madrigal and the other two players were involved in an incident late on the night before they were supposed to start training, in which 9 bullet holes ended up in their car. The other two players, Kenneth Vargas and Alejandro Braun, have already been released by their domestic club LDA in Costa Rica, in addition to being let go from the national team. Nashville SC has released a statement that they are aware Madrigal has been sent home from the Nashville team, but so far that's all they've put out on the situation. By all accounts, Madrigal has been a model citizen and teammate since arriving to town, but I came across an article from a site called Nashville Total Sports that suggests that this is not unheard of behavior for Madrigal in Costa Rica, and that he and the other two players involved are known to run together in social circles. I'm not familiar with Nashville Total Sports and can't speak to the veracity of the reporting, but I also don't see any reason why their reporting shouldn't be believed at this point. I'll link the article in the description below, and you can take a look for yourself. One thing that does strike me is that LDA, the local club, who presumably would have access to more information and quicker than Nashville FC, have already cut ties with Vargas and Braun. It makes me wonder if they know something that Nashville SC does not, or if they had previous issues with those two players. Many different scenarios that could be playing out, and don't want to put any sort of prejudgment onto Madrigal, but one way or the other, it feels like there's more to this story than was come out so far, at least in the national media. So that's something to keep an eye on. Moving now to the Titans. Organized team activities, or OTAs, continued this week. There's not a lot that we can glean from OTAs because most aren't open to the media, and even the ones that are don't include pads or tackling. However, the Carnell Tate hype train has continued to pick up speed as it leaves the station. This week, Titans social media released a couple of clips showing Tate making spectacular catches, one a one-handed grab and one a contested catch over the middle. I'll link the videos below. These are exactly the types of catches any fan would be hoping to see from the presumed number one wide receiver, and as a Titans fan, it's given me a lot of hope. If Tate and Ward can continue to build their connection, they should be an exciting tandem for this season and many years to come. Thursday and Friday of this week, many Titans players and coaches had a chance to speak to the media. While I haven't had a chance to listen to everything that's come out yet, an early personal favorite was defensive line coach Aaron Whitecotton comparing his coaching style to a deranged raccoon.
My mentor, Jim Washburn, used to always say, coach him like a raccoon that's on something. That's kind of how I look at it. You know what I mean? It's just really like a deranged raccoon out there. You go out there and get after it and really push the limits of what we can do in practice, and then we're going to be all right in the games. That's just the way we were all brought up.
I'll try to parse more of those press conference clips and serve them up some of the best lines next week. For now, though, moving on to the Nashville Sounds. They are currently 33-22 and tied with the Memphis Redbirds for first in the West Division. They lead their current series against the Gwinnett Snappers 3-1 with 2 more games today and tomorrow here in town. If it's not raining, try and get out there and support them. Next week, they head on the road for 6 games against the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp starting on Tuesday. My guest this week is a good friend and fabulous fiddle player, Derek Pell. In addition to touring with country legends like Ray Price, Derek has played and recorded around town for many years. On top of that, he is a Nashville native and huge Nashville sports fan. I caught up with him this week to talk about Nashville sports, playing on Broadway, and interacting with visiting fans. I also got to find out about his grandfather, who played for the Boston Red Sox over 100 years ago. Okay, well, Derek, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. I really appreciate you coming on. We've been friends since high school, at least, played some gigs together, and, I've always talked ball, so I'm really excited to have you.
Well, thank you for having me here in the Nashville Sports Report. Very excited to be here. And again, we get to reconnect with you. And we always, with that music side that we have, talking sports was one thing that you and I would always do that the rest of the band usually did not do. So
yeah,
thank you for having me on.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have you. I'm just going to dive right into the questions that I ask everybody who comes on the show, starting with, what is your favorite sport to play?
Easily, it's going to be basketball. I'm a long and lanky individual, so being able to run and jump is one of my favorite things to do. I was a figure skater here and got second place in Junior Olympics every morning at the Sportsplex. Me and my partner, Sarah Davis, we would skate every morning. And so that jumping innately kind of took me to basketball. While I was not the best mid-range shooter, I could somehow shoot threes and just crash the boards. So that was my favorite thing to do, and still one of my favorite things to do.
That's awesome. And I've got a couple questions coming out of that. One, when was the last time you went skating?
Only in my dreams. Apparently now, if I tried to do that, I would be scared to bust my entire body and be out of work. So that I would say when I was 16, I'm 43 now. So you do the math.
I will not do the math, but thank you. All right. And when you're playing, who do you model your basketball? Who do you model your game after?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I want to say Jason Tatum. I want to get right up in there as a Celtics fan. Everything. My family's from Boston, but I was born here in Nashville, and so that is kind of the one team that I do like to watch, and I like the way he crashes those boards.
Love that. Yeah, like that dirty work kind of stuff. All right. Well, moving right along. What's your favorite sport to watch?
All right. Well, this is going to be a two-parter question for me. When it comes to live sports, it's going to be, for me, hands down hockey. You cannot beat a live Preds game experience, especially in a playoff atmosphere, when you can see the puck flying around. There's nothing like that. To hear the crashing of the boards, the stadium, you can hear everything that's happening on the field or in the ice. Football is my favorite sport to watch on TV, just because I can hear all the sounds. I can get a better look about what's going on in the game itself. Whereas trying to watch hockey on TV, you can find the puck as easily. So hockey is going to be number one live, and football is going to be number one on TV.
Yeah, I totally dig that. And I think I'm pretty much in agreement with you on both those things. I love a live hockey game, a lot of fun. And obviously football is, I think, the best television sport going right now. Okay, so what is your earliest sports memory?
Well, my earliest sports memory, I mean, if we're talking about, for me, getting actually interested in sports, it's got to have to be the Music City Miracle. I worked at Compton's grocery store right across from Brown's Diner there near Hillsborough Village. And so I worked all Sunday, so I didn't get to see a single game when they were here at Adelphia Coliseum. And the first Saturday I woke up, I didn't work on Saturdays, so I forgot, a playoff game's going on. I woke up in the fourth quarter and watched the Music City Miracle, being like, I got to see one quarter of football. guess I'm not going to be able to watch. That's all I get to see. We're out of the playoffs. And then when that happened, I became a Titans fan for life. And I know I'm not the only one.
Wow, that's awesome. The Music City Miracle was such an amazing moment. We were at home, and my sister, after the Bills kicked that field goal, my sister turned the television off. And she's like, I guess that's it. And I was like, no, we got to watch. And I turned it back on. And she's not much of a sports fan, but I always remember that. And I'm glad that I turned it back on. But
so many people do the same thing about hear stories about people leaving the stadium, and just hearing the place erupt.
And I bet every one of you now will be like, oh, no, I was there. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Sure. I was there just to have missed it.
Yeah. That's funny.
So never leave until you know who sings.
It ain't over till it's over.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, you kind of touched on this earlier. The next question is, how did you end up in Nashville? And how did your family end up here, since you said you were born here?
My father moved down here. He's a musician from Boston, and he had a buddy that was going to help him out in music down here. So my dad, John Pell, moved down just to search, just test the waters here with a man we just call him Mike Figlio, and he was in the business. And he comes down, and then all of a sudden there's a Chet Atkins International Guitar Fingerstyle Contest, and my dad enters that and gets first place. So Chet was going to produce my dad's first 2 records, which he did, and they also recorded the first Nashville Guitar Quartet with Muriel Anderson, John Knowles, my dad, and Chet Atkins. And my dad arranged a lot of that record. And so after that, he asked my mom to move down and proposed to her pretty much when she got here. So that's kind of the story of why I'm here in Nashville, and my brother as well.
That's pretty incredible. I would argue probably an atypical Nashville musician story, coming down and striking it big right away.
And actually having success, correct. Yeah. That is not the normal way to do it.
Oh, man, that's really amazing. Pivoting now to, what is your favorite Nashville sports team?
It's going to have to be the Titans. I'm a diehard Titans fan. Until we win, I'm going to focus more of my concentration and efforts on following this team, because being at that playoff game that Hunter Bernstein actually invited me to for the Bengals, and to have that first play of the game intercepted and the last play of the game on offense intercepted. The stadium and the energy in that stadium was absolutely amazing. I was actually tearing up during the opening ceremonies just to see how many people were there for our team in Nashville. So I know it last few years have been rough, but this is the cycle of the league. We're going to get back there, and I believe this year is going to be a good stepping stone towards that. Yeah,
I totally agree with you, and I feel you on that. It's pretty amazing to see that sort of camaraderie and the community spirit of fandom when you get into a stadium. I can remember after 9/11 when the Preds started playing again, and just how impactful being there and hearing the anthem was. Those sort of moments are things that I think stick with you in ways that might not otherwise. So that's really cool to hear.
And it's just like musicians that have those concerts that are big and everyone comes together. I think sometimes musicians can forget that, there's other sports and there's other places to gather to have these same kind of, not religious experiences, but a communal experience to where we're all together, So it really is fun and exciting. And I really sometimes wish I didn't work every Sunday so I could get up to all the games.
Yeah. That's such a great point, too, about sort of the communal spirit and sort of the similarities between a performance and a sporting event. And, I think that's something that kind of arts get a little bit more credit or acknowledgement for. And sports, while they play a similar role, maybe it's just because of sort of the jockey nature of it, or I don't know. I don't really know why, but it seems as though sports don't get the same sort of credit for being that kind of gathering space where we can all come together as a community. So I think that's a really great point you bring up.
I mean, the Coliseums were going way before, bringing people together in Rome way before big concerts were happening. So the original bring it together. But also no one notices if the bass player missed one note in the song. But, we all noticed the first, I forget which season it was, as a Titans fan, our return guy at kickoff.
Oh, against the
first
Steelers.
Kickoff of the season. And he just steps over the line like no one's going to see it, and then steps backwards.
Yeah.
So you have one job, but it's cutthroat. They live and die for their families, and the stuff that they do, it can really change the legacy of their families by just having a solid career. So, and putting their lives on the line.
It's pretty amazing stuff. As a Titans fan, I'd like to know, what are your thoughts on the new rebrand, the jersey, the logo?
It's taking some getting used to. I do like the look of it. I do kind of miss to where, I hear Derek Mason talking about how he feels that there's no semblance of the Titans. There's nothing that it's going almost just full Oilers. But you know what? If that breathes some life into the organization with a rebrand, having the stadium, I'm all for it. But I am looking at the Stars sometimes and who's that team? Oh, that's our team. Yes. So I think I'll get used to it, and I'm excited to see what it looks like on the field.
I agree with you there. I really like the simplicity of the logo when that leak first came out, and it was sort of like, oh, this is it. I think maybe it was just the particular product that it was leaked on. It was like a weird dog chew toy, and it looked kind of funny. But the more it hangs around and the more we see it, I like the balance of it. I love the color. That light blue is really nice. And actually, I really like that secondary logo that they've done with the TN overlaid, kind of like more of a Yankees style. If they got rid of the football on that one, threw that on a hat, I'd be buying it right away.
And that's something for the marketing team out there to take a listen to here.
Yeah, hopefully Titans marketing people are tuning in religiously.
Absolutely.
Okay, moving on. We may have already touched on it, maybe not. What is your favorite Nashville sports memory or moment?
It's going to have to just be that the Music City Miracle, because there's not really anything that can top that. But I do want to say that for me, for a game that I've gone to, it's going to be the clinching game against the Anaheim Ducks here for the Preds to go on to the Stanley Cup final. So I think that was an exciting, just to hear the fans walking out of the stadium cheering and chanting. It was nothing like it. And then to watch that Washington-Pittsburgh game, they go into extra overtime. So I'm thinking, oh, great, they're going to be so tired. We're going to, definitely
wear
beat
yourselves
this team.
out.
But, for losing our centers like we did that playoffs, it was and Kevin Fiala breaking his leg. We dealt with a lot of injuries like all teams do. So I'm really proud of that team, that 2017 team.
Yeah, that was an incredible game. That was Colton Sissons had the hat trick.
Yes.
Here's an underrated Nashville guy for you for sure. Well, right on. I feel you on both of those. I think those are both touchstones. And, honestly, for people our age who grew up in Nashville where there weren't any really professional sports, you had the Sounds, you could go to Vandy basketball. They were kind of good in the 90s. But, like, for the Titans and the Preds to come in 98, and then sort of particularly that run with the Music City Miracle, and then Eddie George looking into the Jumbotron in Indianapolis, and then going down and beating the Jags for the third time, the only team to beat them that year.
Only team.
Yeah. I think that was a pretty monumental run. I think it really marked them out. And I imagine folks of our age will always feel fondly about that era.
But a perfect storm. And also thinking about the same time where Vanderbilt athletics, besides basketball, was kind of null and void. And, we would ride our bikes down all the way from Hillsborough Village down to the stadium, and you could get in for free after halftime, and they just let you come in and just sit wherever. No one was watching the game, and to watch, completely full stadiums for Vanderbilt football, even taking out Alabama, and watching Nate Bargatze mention that on Saturday Night Live. What a long way, and really proud of that program.
Yeah, pretty amazing stuff. You saying that reminds me, my dad used to take us to some of those games, and the whole bowl section, the bowl end of it would be empty, and he'd just let us go run because he could see us from wherever we were in the stadium. It's like, I got my eyes on you. You're the only ones in the whole section.
Just look for the movement, and then there you are.
Yeah,
yes.
The few little kids, just don't hurt yourselves. Have fun.
It was a different era back then, for sure.
It sure was. Okay, so speaking of sort of Nashville sports and sports history, who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of Nashville sports?
Well, Rushmore's got 4, and I'm always thinking, man, if I just had one more, so that makes it a tough pick. But for me, it's got to be Eddie, it's got to be Steve, it's got to be Derrick Henry, and Pekka Rinne, with an honorable mention for Chris Johnson.
I understand those for sure. Eddie and Steve, obviously. What they did when they first came in, pretty amazing. Pekka, just one of the best to do it.
The diving play there in game 1 of that 2017 run against the Blackhawks. I mean, just watching him, he was like, those guys all did something on TV that was amazing. They all put on a cape at one point or another and became superstars. There was always a memorable play or two. I think about Eddie against the Ravens, and he pushed Ray Lewis back and get up in his face, and just watching that run through power against Ray Lewis and him knocking him over and pushing him out of bounds. Obviously Steve McNair against the Super Bowl when he's dragged down by his shirt or his jersey, somehow gets up and 20 yards down the field for a first down. Derrick Henry's run against the Jaguars. I mean, how many people did he just push off him like it was nothing?
Yeah.
And then we just talked about Pekka. So these are going to be my 4 Mount Rushmore of Nashville sports history people.
I totally love it. That's great. Okay. And do you have any Nashville sports conspiracy theories or hot takes that you want to share?
Not any conspiracy theories that probably anyone else hasn't said already. The Chad Brinker thing was interesting, just how he, wasn't sure like how close he was to the family. There's a lot of speculation. It was just that. And, listen to you talk about him really just wanting to get back to football. And I think it's going to be a great move for him. But for me, it just kind of seemed like some sort of not nepotism, but a little off that. But he's not here anymore. So no hot takes for me. I have a hot take, but not a conspiracy theory. My hot take, Titans are going to go 8-9 this next season. That's 8 wins. That's 5 more than we previously had. And I think that's going to be a huge move forward going into the next season with the new stadium. There's going to be a lot of hope and optimism. And I think a lot of our wins are going to come at the end of the year, which just like the Ravens did in 2000 before the 2001 season, they just kind of like built up some great rapport at the end of the season. Then we just patted in with hopefully a Javon Curse or someone that takes us to the next level next year and puts us into the playoffs.
Nice. I like that. Yeah. I have high hopes as well. I think that a lot of the league not the league, but a lot of the media around the league, you can tell who hasn't watched the Titans last year. Everyone that's like all this number driven stuff talking about Cam Ward. It's like this guy faced like the 10 toughest defenses. He had one of the hardest strength of schedule. He just got better and better. He had the most drops, I think, by any receiving core in the league. I mean, just everything was stacked against him. And we watched him just grow and grow. And I think with Tate in particular, I think you're right. I think Cam Ward's going to lead this team to some good stuff.
I mean, any quarterback would have had a tough time with that, but not to mention a rookie quarterback coming in and with that offensive line just kind of still gelling. And now this is going to be the same thing this year. But I think we have I think Daboll is going to be getting the ball out of the hands. Where I think we're going to run the ball more, which we started to do later in the year once Callahan left. Mm-hmm. And it's, hey, how about that? We run the football, we win games and play defense like any team that doesn't have a superstar offensive. I mean, look at what happened to the Chiefs last year. Just if you can't protect your quarterback, you need to alter the way you play the game. And I think we're going to have some common sense football. I know that sounds crazy to hear. We're not going to make up stuff like smash mouth, exotic smash mouth. We're just going to play football. And I'm excited for Saleh getting a second chance after what a debacle and the Jets organization for him. And I'm really excited about Daboll. I mean, just both these New York guys coming down here with plenty of experience. I really am excited to see what this looks like in the preseason, but I know we're never going to get a glimpse of it until game 1 because no one shows anything in the preseason. So I think it's going to be good.
I'm with you. I'm very excited about the staff that's coming in. I like how much Daboll really, really wants to work with Cam Ward, how interested he was in him in the pre-draft process last year. That's what brought him down here, basically. I think.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are you scared that if Daboll and us offense flies off the handle and does such a great job, are you always scared like me? As soon as that happens, then someone just comes up and gets Daboll and, he's got a new head coach position. We got to start all over again. That always terrifies me when we have that was the promise about Brian Callahan is if it works, then you still got a great play caller that's still going to be there calling the plays and not just ripping the rug out under the quarterback's feet for maybe yet a third new system in 3 years.
I would love to have that problem, honestly.
Okay. That would mean success.
Yeah. People haven't been coming after the Titans folks in the front office or on the coaching staff for years. So if anyone is interested in coming to steal our OC, that means that we have done really great things. I do also think that Daboll will be here for at least 2 years, though. I think he'll probably want to, really work with Cam, see this project through. I think we're going to see some really good results on both sides of the ball, and I think that there's going to be real potential for this team to make noise. Kind of like you were saying, not this next season. I think they will be better for sure, but they've really kind of lined it up well to move into the stadium with some momentum and with a really solid team. I imagine next year in the draft, they'll be looking at an edge rusher and a left tackle as sort of their 2 primary things that they want to do, and if they can figure out the interior line, I think we're looking at a really decent ball club, a team that can compete in ways that haven't in a long time. So yeah, if folks are eyeing up the Titans coaching staff and trying to poach them, that'd be great.
I love that. That's exactly the way I should be thinking about it instead of always looking towards the future when the right now is right now. And looking at that offensive line from 2017 at those Preds games, chugging beer out of a fish. That offensive line was, I think, my favorite besides our, David Stewart and
Right, Big Country and all those guys.
Exactly.
Dude, I think we, as Titans fans, it's been so long, and there's just so much just a downtrodden, beat down kind of mentality. Like, I used to literally, I would mute the game and I would just play yakety sax on mute just to try and like make myself feel a little bit better. And I did that for years because it was just like, what else are you going to do? It's comical. It's like you were mentioning the opening kickoff in Pittsburgh, kneeling down for a safety. Like, what? How do you even deal with that?
He doesn't play on offense. He doesn't play on defense. His one job is to look up at the air and look down on the ground and see, am I across the line? I better just go. And no one's going to see this.
Yeah, we got it. We're good. I think as Titans fans, though, we are that way. You know, we're beat down. We expect the bad thing to happen. And I hope that new quarterback, new uniforms, new coaching staff, hopefully new stadium. Like, I hope that there can be a larger shift in perception within the organization and around it. Because we want a winning team. We want a winning product. And
that puts our own fans in the seats. Right now, as you know, how it is when the team is bad, it's getting sold out by everybody from outside of Titans Nation and fandom. And so it's kind of embarrassing to see, the stadium just completely. But I understand it. It brings a lot of money to the city. A lot of people know that they're going to have a great vacation. Their team's going to win. And then they go down and tip the bands down on Broadway, maybe. So yeah. It's fine when they're, at least there's some reason it's fine if they're not winning. But for me and the rest of the Titans fan, we're ready to take that stadium back. And that means that if they're playing well, I'm even going to take my Sundays off to make sure I get in that stadium and I pay the tickets and do not sell them and resell them.
There you go. Okay, so focusing a little bit more on Nashville in particular, and I do want to ask you some more about Broadway in just a second. But before we get into that, I want to know, what is your favorite restaurant in Nashville?
Well, it's going to be the Southern Steak and Oyster.
Okay.
There, and also I play there every Saturday and Sunday for brunch from 11 to 2. Plug.
Yeah.
And also, you know who else likes that restaurant?
Who's that?
Mike Vrabel.
Hey.
Yeah, even when he comes back in town, he'll go there. He took his family there, and he even one time comes in there and sees me drinking a beer while the guitar player is taking a solo, and he looks at me and goes, "They let you drink in here on the job? Nice perk." Just a little, Usually musicians are drinking a light beer on the gig. That's kind of like a normal thing for a 3-hour, 4-hour gig. But it was just really funny how he said that, and came back and tipped us a nice 10. And
all right, hey Mike.
Not the same. I got a great picture of me with him, and I looked so tiny. And then 2 weeks later, I go and who's sitting at the same booth? It's Diana Rossini.
No.
So maybe they were talking and saying, "Hey, this is a great restaurant. You should go there." And so I remember her pink outfit on. I went and talked to her and her little team. I just said how grateful I was that they're what she does for the business. I know being women in sports can be very tough. I don't know that. I just assumed that, and the stories I hear. So, but I just thanked her for the great job that she does covering the Titans. So we're looking back now at 5 years on this, 6 years on this. It paints a different picture now. If was it just them working together, or was there a little juice going on? But that's a little bit of drama that I'm not getting into at all. He was always nice to me.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, seems like a nice guy. She does too. Obviously, they've made personal mistakes. That then the more stuff that comes out, it's kind of like, let's talk about operational security here, gang. Like, you guys were just out there doing it. Like, people taking photos everywhere.
The whole thing about the draft and us not getting our quarterback from Ohio State, who ended up with the Texans. I mean, that just seemed like a total, we showed our hand in every which way. And that is unforgivable in a way, if indeed that is what happened. But again, I'm not saying that's what happened, but if that was what happened, that would be, like you said, operational security. And that does affect the team. And like you said, don't do dumb blank to hurt the team.
Yeah. Well, and to put a pin on that one, I do think in the long run, I think we're going to be happy to have Cam Ward instead of CJ Stroud. So we'll see. I'm
excited. Everything happens for a reason, and I'm ready for the Cam Ward era.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about working downtown on Broadway and stuff like that. Have you had any crazy experiences with visiting fans or anything you want to share with the team?
Well, I do work at Robert's Western World, my favorite honky-tonk on Broadway, and I would have to say that the favorite fans I think I have are the Chicago fans, the Blackhawks and the Bears fans. This is the only time that I know of on Nashville that a lower Broadway bar has completely sold out of light beer, completely sold out of beer. Like all your Millers, all your Coors, I mean, just Bud Light, Michelob Ultra, all of them completely sold out. that weekend when the Chicago fans came here. So they were great tippers. They're a lot of fun. I know that could be divisive because of our rivalry with them, but if you're going to have it, I'd rather have the fun people coming into town. And then if you want to hear the worst,
Yep.
I would say it's usually going to be your young college fans. So, and especially the young ones that are like 6'8" and like 400 pounds. They just have too much to drink. And then like an Auburn fan not too long ago was trying to get in a drag down fight and was held down by 7 police officers.
Oh, wow.
And he just, every time they let him get up, he started bull rushing them. Like, but there's 7 of them. What are you going to do? So I would say some of the college fans that are younger, don't have the experience for the drinking and how it gets to them. And then also they're not used to tipping the band. So not only do we not make any money, they're also trying to fight us.
Oh.
And if you know me, I'm about 130 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah, your fighting days are behind you anyways, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, I don't think I ever had them.
I worked at Mercy Lounge for about a year, and I remember being shocked at the Raiders fans being just far and away much nicer and better tippers than any of the other teams that came in. This was when they were in the black hole in Oakland, and they had sort of that.
They look like the most intimidating fans.
Yeah, and there was kind of that, Raiders fans, like they're crazy, they're rude. And at least the ones that came into Mercy, they were great. And I just remember thinking like, wow, these guys are awesome and they're tipping well, and I hope they lose. But
oh, man, RIP Mercy Lounge. What a great spot.
It was a good one. Well, speaking of stuff like that, you spent a lot of time touring out on the road. Do you have any memorable moments catching a Titans or a Preds game on the road?
No, speaking of Chicago, went to Chicago's White Sox game last year. And with the new rules, I would just say that the game flew by. It was 1-0. Benintendi hit a home run. He used to play for the Red Sox, which is my team. My grandfather played for the Red Sox 80 years ago. So it was a long time ago. And so I was always a Red Sox fan.
What's your grandfather's name?
Fred McGaffey, nicknamed Slugger McGaffey. And funny story, he was also on a minor league team with Jim Thorpe.
Wow.
And Jim Thorpe, he's like, if you know the story about Jim Thorpe, it's a beautiful story, but it was one of the true heroes of baseball. Mm-hmm. But my favorite story about Jim Thorpe is my grandfather was playing with him on the AAA team. And back then, everyone would dress up in ties and suits. They go to the game. You have rocks on the sidelines. So not just dirt and field, and it's actual rocks. So my grandfather, an Irishman, so a little bit of a hothead, let me just say that. So maybe that's where I get that from. So the fans start booing at him. So he just turns around and starts pelting rocks at them. So they're having a rock exchange fight. Jim Thorpe comes up and he gets him and he pulls him down into the dugout and pulls him down into the stadium and knows of a side door to get him out, sneak him out the side door, because on the main door where the team was going to leave, there's police waiting to arrest my grandfather. So he was able to play 2 years in the Red Sox, broke his playing right field and broke his arm diving for a ball. And that was the end of his career. So
Slugger McGaffrey, is that right?
McGaffey, yes.
McGaffey. I'll try and find his stats and hopefully link them in the description of the podcast. So
yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, speaking of athletes, have you had any memorable moments encountering athletes either downtown or while on the road? Anything?
Yes, actually, not too long ago, I was sitting there and this gentleman was loving our band on a Friday night. I was down there with Brandon Berkadal and the Beer Joint Jumpers. Normally, I play with John England and the Western Swingers at Roberts. So when I get to sub in, there's like a different energy. It's really, I'm mostly focused on trying to play the songs that I don't play regularly. So that's just my job, to make sure I'm doing my best job for the band. And I recognize this guy, but I'm not going to stare at him too much. And finally, he comes up to go shake my hand when he leaves. A lot of people do that because I'm right next to the door. And I usually have to bend down on my knees, or, just to shake her hand when they say, "That's fantastic fiddle playing." And I'm just, "Thank you so much." And then they're on the way. Then I'm back to the song. Well, I noticed this gentleman comes up. He's just been smiling, grinning from ear to ear. He comes up and I went to get down and I realized I didn't have to because he's pretty much eye level with me. I said, "My name's Derek." He goes, "Oh, my name's Joe Kim." I said, "Wait, Joe Kim, like Joakim?" And I don't know why I just spelled his name. And he says, "Yes." And he walks out. And then I realized it was Joakim Noah from those legendary Florida Gators teams on basketball. And then also the Chicago Bulls. Another Chicago reference here, I guess.
Yeah.
But he was such a nice individual. We did not get to talk much. But I would say over at Rudy's Jazz Room, where we do our little hot club happy hour every Thursday from 6 to 8:15, plug. I was sitting there and I recognized this gentleman. I knew him. And I went to talk to him on the set break. He was so nice. And he mentioned he played football. And I says, "Okay, can you tell me your name?" and it was Jabari Greer. He was in the Saints Hall of Legend cornerback, and he's my age. He's 44. I'm 43, and he was so nice. And we talked about how musicians want to be athletes, and athletes they think it's cool to be a musician. And I thought that was so funny. And I said, we both put a lot on the line. You put your body out there in one way that you could really damage your head and damage, an arm or a leg. And, us musicians, we put ourselves out there to damage our livers. But he was just such a great individual, and we had such a great talk. It just got so quiet in there for that one moment. It felt like to me the noise went away, and he's one of those people that I really would love to run into again. And hey, maybe he's picked up an instrument by now, and he's already ready for Lower Broadway. We'll see.
That's awesome. Yeah, look out for Jabari Greer coming to a honky tonk near you.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, before we wrap it up, I know you've done a few plugs, but where can people come out and hear you play, which I highly recommend they do?
All right. Well, first off, my Instagram handle is BOW _ Derek, DEREK _ Nash. Again, that's Bo _ Derek _ Nash on Instagram. And you can find me every Monday night, Robert's Western World, from 6:30 to 10 with John England and the Western Swingers. Every Thursday from 6 to 8:15 at Rudy's Jazz Room, playing that hot club style jazz. And then it's every Saturday and Sunday, you can find me at the Southern Steak and Oyster, playing from 11 to 2 for brunch.
And possibly Mike Vrabel or Diana Rossini as well.
Absolutely. And hopefully not at the same time.
I doubt it at this point. Well, awesome, Derek. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on and speak with me. And I will put your handle down in the description for people to reach out and follow you on Instagram as well.
I love the podcast. I cannot wait to see the future episodes. And really, thank you so much for having me to be a part of this Nashville Sports Report. It's been a pleasure.
Okay. That was my interview with a very funny, very talented, and just overall great guy, Derek Pell. Thanks again to Derek for coming on the show. I really appreciated having him. And, after speaking with Derek, I got to reflecting on the fact that while a lot of things have changed in Nashville lately, the fact that people can go see musicians of Derek's caliber playing all over town pretty much any night of the week is one of the really special things about Nashville that has not been lost as the city has grown and changed. While he is a good friend of mine, Derek is truly a world-class player, and the fact that we have people like him plying their trades every day in this town is something that it can be easily taken for granted, but I think that we should not lose sight of because it is a very special feature of this town. Okay. That is going to do it for us. Don't forget to follow us on the social medias. That would be Twitter and Blue Sky at NSH Sports Report. You can also contact us through the link in the description below. I have included Derek's Instagram handle down there, as well as links to the videos and articles referenced during today's show. As always, if you'd love to come on, please reach out. I'd love to have you. I'm excited to hear about any and all perspectives on Nashville sports, and what that experience is for you, even if it's not a positive one. I think all these conversations are worth having, and I appreciate you tuning in every week to join me in